everyone. We're almost ready to go. So they did ask us if we were ready. Sometimes they do that and then still take a little bit. So you here, Rifkin? You might have BRB'd. Oh.
No, I'm here. I'm just continuing to enjoy PMs I'm getting.
Such fun times. Well, there is the countdown. So Apotheosis is the first map for the semifinals. Same here. And it'll be Stats versus ByuN, a TvP. If ByuN wins, he will go on to a TvT. That'll be a rematch of a rematch. It is the new oh, okay. Well, he's the new reality versus ByuN, so...
Oh, boy.
In the bottom right, sending an SCV out very early, it is the Blue Terran, ByuN.
And his opponent spawning the top left is going to be the well-renowned Protoss, known as Stats. They get a Slugger for the 21-month resub. ByuN going for a proxy is... I want to say unorthodox. Not something I would expect for him to do game one versus Stats, but hell, game one is the one where you've got the least to lose for trying it. And I guess on a bigger, longer map like Apotheosis, this might just pay off.
I mean, we'll see if ByuN commits to it fully. Like, oh, let's see if the second gas geyser comes down in the factory, in the starport. Oh, there it goes. Or if he's going to go for just like the... kind of a macro version of this where you only get 1 or 2 Reapers, but it's proxied, so maybe they get 4 probe kills, then you go back to doing whatever back at home. But I think more common is the aggressive follow-up. So to see it ByuN to do it here is not too surprising. Just the question of how he's going to follow it up. Of course, factory starport, but what comes out of those?
Right, so I mean, typically when this happens, that Reaper pops out. In a perfect world, it gets 4 probe kills, maybe more, depending on how Stats reacts to this. But it really shouldn't be that much. You're right. Like, a lot of this has to do with is the factory proxied? Is the starport proxied? How dedicated is ByuN willing to get? Stats is checking some, I'll say, typical proxy locations, but also perhaps setting up for something himself.
Yeah.
For the sneaky maneuvers around the side of the map.
I would bet on that, because usually you do not see the proxy barracks over here.
This is going to mean he doesn't have much at home. I want to point out there's no Zealot coming into this. There's nothing to buy time from that Reaper. The Nexus has no vision of that bunker coming down. ByuN, for all intents and purposes, should be able to get that easy 4 probe kill.
You should. We'll see how good Stats probe micro is. I say probe micro.
You got grenades, you got a dodge, you got a Reaper that's going to hopefully not go and do anything silly. I mean, it is worth noting, ByuN's worst unit in the game for him is the Reaper.
It's like he's not bad when it comes to Reaper fights. You know, we saw the TvT.
Oh,
these Reapers were very good. Okay.
So you were saying?
Well, he got 3 pro kills still, though. So
you won't.
Okay. Well, anyways, it's the first Reaper that is casual, like the 1x expand Reaper that doesn't seem to care about. Just let it die.
This is huge, by the way. The Marine actually did get here in time to get inside the bunker, which means the Adept can't easily pick it off, can't safeguard this. And ByuN, by the way, did not place the Magfield Accelerator Cyclones on the other side of the map. He built them back at home. So he's really looking to follow this up with some serious damage. And in a 1v1 situation, the Magfield Accelerator is going to make him win against any armored unit. You're going to have this Oracle maybe come out, be a little bit scary. We'll see if ByuN gets caught off guard by it, if the Cyclone's in the wrong place at the wrong time, maybe. But... you know, across this map, he's got that bunker firing away at the Nexus. It's not going to die anytime soon, but he does... like, Stats has to deal with this. He can't ignore this.
Yeah. That's true. Like, you don't usually see the Nexus go down to a bunker with 2 Marines, but any probe, yeah, that tries to be built out of it.
Well, there's the 4th probe kill.
There you go. Zealot comes out as well, just to get something in that has a little bit... it just can deal with bunkers, basically. The Zealot's usually pretty good at that. The Oracle pops out.
Yeah, that bunker might not even go down, by the way. The 2 Adepts being picked off pretty quickly. He actually salvages the advantage ship and just runs to the main. But with the Oracle approaching the main, it's revealed there's unfortunately a little bit of nothing here. The Cyclone's running back home to deal with this. Another Cyclone pops out, so he chases this down. Oracle will likely die. That lock-on, though, is gonna be close. He scans to secure the kill. Nicely done out of ByuN.
Yeah.
Now he can build that Viking, sit in his own mineral line, and bring those mag-filled accelerated Cyclones anywhere he'd like. I think number one place being looking for that proxy Stargate.
He almost found it, too. I was a little worried the Cyclone would scout the Oracle in its path to ByuN's main base. It almost happened again here, as he does notice. But the Marines got a pretty decent scouts. Of course, it was really the Oracle coming in that was the best scouts.
Ooh.
Now he knows he dedicated to an Oracle.
High ground deny. I mean, the lock-on should be able to fix this if that Oracle moves in any direction. Normally, an Oracle could actually take on a Cyclone 1v1, but not when there's backup and not when it's at half health.
Yeah, the Viking's gonna take care of it. Apparently they can't. Alright.
Feels bad, man. There's another Oracle on the way. Never mind. Let's come to the main right now. There's a Phoenix giving a follow-up to this too, but 2 Cyclones, a Viking. I mean, ByuN should be on lockdown status, and this is huge amounts of money from stats just kind of wasted for it. Now, ByuN's made a significant amount of Cyclones, and he did invest in the Magfield Accelerator. 3 Cyclones is, in my opinion, a lot. But the fact that he hasn't been able to roam across the map with them means he's unlikely to actually get to use them to their fullest potential for the rest of the game. They'll have damage. They'll certainly be contributing to the fights, but you're going to get to this idea where, Cyclones are good when there's low amounts of units. If there's 14 or 15 Adepts warped in, Cyclones will slowly whittle away at them, but it's not going to matter.
I like this revelation on this one Cyclone. I gotcha.
Yeah, actually kind of important.
Oh, it's gone now. At least he knows the intention. But, I mean, you see Cyclones eventually going to try and make their way out on the map just because they do have the mobility. The Phoenixes, this is why they are important. They just pick up the Cyclones. They can either break the lock-on if you think that a unit is going to die, or they can actually kill the Cyclone. There you go. So, ByuN will have to go back with the 2 Cyclones. It's not the end of the world, though. Like, they're still going to be very... Oh, okay, well, this might be... kind of sucks he's going to lose the other 2 Cyclones. Had they been able to get away, I was going to say, they could probably join up with the push and provide some excellent damage on like a pylon, or if they lock on to like a warp prism defensively, that's pretty good too. Unfortunately, not going to be the case. Because Stotts did go for a Stargate, he doesn't actually have that much in the terms of, robotic facility tech.
It's unfortunate the Cyclones really didn't get much done. I was expecting a lot more from them this game. Feels bad, but the Phoenixes in such high number are both a blessing and a curse. Obviously, in the instance of cleaning up the Cyclones, policing medevacs, picking up the odd unit here and there, great. Phoenixes are awesome. But this does mean that there's a significant investment towards them. That's a lot of gas that's not going to be on the ground or in sentries or in tech. And ByuN's going to know this as well. So as his one weapon upgrade finishes up, his Stim and Compass Shields comes out, honestly, I think taking on these Adepts won't be too tall of an order.
ByuN doesn't know the gold base was taken, but I think the location of the army with the Cyclones told him enough to direct his main push there. He's going to try and catch the Phoenixes and the Oracle, but I don't know, it's not a bad place with the Widow Mines, but it's not a guarantee that they'll fly over that direction again, as they seem to have no problem chilling around this area. We'll see. Revelation tagged on the army once again. This one might be the more important one, since ByuN is now ready to go. He has combat chills finishing up in +1. We'll see where the army is heading. Stats, he's getting his production now. He's only just now getting his double forge, so he'll fall behind on the upgrades initially, but then catch up and then some when this game gets into the mid-game. And it should. I mean, even army supplies, resonating glaives, adepts against what is pure marine here. I think stats should be able to hold. A scan goes down on that gold base to see what the army composition looks like, as well as to confirm that the gold base was taken, because again, that wasn't scouted. ByuN will take his own gold base on location. A little bit scary, since you know that Phoenixes are out on the map. You could easily lift and pick off SCV after SCV, but they did come back defensively, and ByuN's not even gonna bother taking on that Adept army, it looks like. He saw it was too powerful, and will go back and try and get more Liberators.
This is This is worrisome, actually. The fact that he didn't have any opportunity to pounce, the fact that he's maybe going to try out macro stats, which, by the way, even for somebody like ByuN, good luck on that. I just want to point out the stats is moving towards what is possibly Colossus on deck. I personally would love to see a couple disruptors, but I think at this point we all know a little bit of guaranteed damage from a Colossus is better than missing a disruptor shot at the end of the day, which is a big part of why I think Colossus is just a better choice for AoE anyways. But I'm wondering at what point we're going to see, like, if this is slow macro, if both players are going to play a little bit cool, calm, collected, reflect off each other, you know, are we going to see storms? We don't see a lot of that anymore because so much emphasis has gone to Colossus. I think they're still stronger and better, in my opinion, for a lot of different various reasons. But I will give credit to these Oracles. Constant revelations on ByuN's army from the first couple of Cyclones, even the main composition of Marines and Marauders here. Stats knows where this army is.
Didn't see the Liberators join up with it, but it's only 2, so that's still something I think the Adepts can maybe take on. They're not going to go for it. But the rest of the army not here as well. I think that was better.
I think that this engage is really important because there's a lot of Widow Mines. They want to hit those Adepts.
Yeah. Stats, by the way, has some pretty excellent coverage on the rest of the map, so he doesn't have to worry about getting attacked anywhere else. Just really only focusing on this main attack here, but it's already kind of well positioned. You know, they have a bit of a choke just made because the Nexus has to be in that location that it is. The Widow Mines are covering the Liberators. The Colossus can only help out so much, especially when there's only one of them. And it does not have its range quite yet. So the Nexus goes down and Stats is being bullied back. Now he has a 4th base. And that's why he felt comfortable going for a 2nd Robo so quickly. So now it's 2 Colossus at a time. But ByuN getting that base was pretty important. He did need that. He might lose a couple SCVs on his side. So Warp Prism is now in play. But he still has to worry about this main engagement. I don't think ByuN should be going to the choke. It's definitely dangerous to do. 2nd Colossus is about to join in. He's trying to push through the choke. Not going to work out. Reinforcements are being rallied to that Warp Prism. Where did it go? Could be doing some serious damage. It does not commit. And the Adepts are only checking for a 4th base. So not really any damage done from Stats. His 3rd base, you know, is definitely damage to him, but I do wonder if he's okay with that, since he does have another base up and running, and his natural is still okay on the minerals. He finishes 1-1, so did ByuN, and, okay, I was gonna say, like, usually that's when the Protoss starts advancing, because they can, of course, put all of their chrono into upgrades, but he had to wait a little bit, as he was quite concerned about that main push.
Can't blame him, though. Now, there's going to be a little bit of a scuffle in the middle of the map. Catching these Phoenix would be nice. Actually, just going to remove them for, I think, peace of mind more than anything else. But obviously, it's not about this small scuffle. 128 supplied, 118. Some Adepts sneak into the south side. Okay, a little bit scary for ByuN. Loses with 6 workers, but nothing too massive. It is all about that attack on the top right. And both players are going to have this choke work for and against them. On one side of it, you're going to have Liberators deployed. On the other, you're going to have the Colossus with its splash damage. But ultimately, I think ByuN's army is a little bit more expendable. So if he does over-dedicate to Stats, it might not be the end of the world.
Stats are just going to be so well prepared for every single push-in with these observers seeing the key engagement points of where ByuN is looking to push. Now, this base is probably forfeit once ByuN realizes it's over there. And I guess that's something that Stats is willing to risk. But ByuN isn't even going over to the left side quite yet. There we go. The observer would see it, and Stats would be able to try and respond, but it would be risky to go all the way over here when there's definitely a little bit more of a concave opportunity too, because he might be able to pounce on the base basically before Stats is well prepared. But he might be looking for a fight himself. I mean, they're both maxed out, so they both could, as soon as they see a good engagement opportunity, both engage. Stats is going to have upgrades finishing up, though, and ByuN might accidentally have this, like, anti-timing if he decides to take the engagement, thinking that everything's okay, and actually, bam, suddenly 2-2 finishes right as the engagement starts, and you did not account for that. I also would say that his army isn't perfect without more anti-air. The Ghost being added in, of course, is always good, but 10 Vikings, 3 Liberators against 4 Colossus, that's a little low. Certainly not enough to try and sack the Vikings on the Colossus. You'd maybe get 1 or 2, and then unfortunately the Stalkers would take care of everything else. Actually, ByuN is going to go for this. I really don't know. The Widow Mines burrow. DTs are in here.
They don't get the greatest hits. The Colossus in the back line still alive. Vikings and Marauders now focusing them down. But as ByuN backs away from this goes back to what I was saying, but like his army's a little bit more disposable. Stats, he's got the money, but it's really hard to replace those Colossus. Whereas ByuN, he's pumping out 4 Vikings at a time, 5 Marines, a lot of Marauders. Maybe can recover off this. It's a little bit tight right now. ByuN's actually going to pull SCVs into this. He wants to finish off that last Colossus so badly. Vikings dive for it. It's not going to get his stats dancing around with only the shields missing.
Yeah, that's still pretty healthy there, and a War Prism's here now as well. Vikings come in and could get the Colossus, but I think actually getting the War Prism, yeah, exactly, would have been a higher priority target. I don't think ByuN can actually recover from this, losing 14 SCVs on top of 12 he already lost to Adepts earlier. He will definitely have to lift his main command center as well if he does push this back. Its stats is looking very, very good. I will say the fight went better than I thought it would for ByuN, who focus fired with his Marauders and dealt with the DTs as well. But he definitely needed either a lot more Vikings, like 5 more Vikings, or he needed the Vikings to initiate the fight over a cliff, you know, so that the Colossus are already dead or close to dying by the time your bio actually gets in there. The point is, if 4 Colossus get even 1 shot, but all 4 get that 1 shot, a lot of your bio is going to be weak. Stats, okay, like, he's starting to recover as well. Like, he dipped to close to 100 supply, but very quickly getting that back up as his gateway production has kind of blossomed here on 4 bases. Not even bothering with a Colossus anymore, too, which I kind of like. In case ByuN over-dedicates the Vikings, which ByuN smartly... Oh, never mind, not so smartly. He wasn't, but now he goes back into Vikings. So he doesn't have to worry about that. He has 3 anyways, I suppose. And 3 is almost as good as 4. I'd say 4 into Immortal production is pretty perfect, but... honestly, just Immortals at this point could be a good idea as well. And unfortunately, ByuN really can't afford to do Ghosts, Vikings, and Bio. It's like, which one would you give up right now? If you look at this army composition. EMP went down. Not too good, though. It sounded like one did. Oh, there's one there. There we go. Find the ghost. So ByuN can't... I guess he did get his SCVs over here, but it's only 28 SCVs, so he's not really mining that well off of 3 bases, and actually it's only 2. Natural's entirely mined out. He's trying, though, but stats is already almost maxed out.
Stats, by the way, putting up like the best fight of anybody that we've seen against ByuN in a while. This gives me hope for the series to maybe be a little bit more back and forth, but I want to remind everybody, this game started off with ByuN, doing a weird proxy. Cyclones that failed. Like, there's a lot that started off, and I'm not making excuses, but just explaining, like, ByuN set himself up for failure with the way this opened. I do wonder, had this been a more normal macro game for ByuN, would we actually see stats looking as powerful as he does right now?
Good question. And his openers were entire failures, but they did not help his macro game.
Yeah, ByuN's half the army supply, but he's still not done yet. I mean, with 3 ghosts, lots of EMPs, there's still potential to take a fight, but again, I want to not oversell this. Like, it's unlikely that he'll take one that will win in the game. Ghost's going to dive forward for those EMPs, and they do blanket a majority of the army, but is there enough damage behind it to take capitalize on it? Looks like not going to be the case. Colossus actually gets picked up in the Warp Prism. I forgot I could do that. Vikings get denied. GG's get called. The Stats takes game number 1.
Stats is definitely a formidable opponent. If it's Stats versus Young in the finals, I'm not too upset either. And it might just be.
It'd be nice to see a small change, but it's more for me like, oh my god, someone can dethrone ByuN? Like, what?
Hey, yeah. But ByuN does this thing where he loses, then just brings it back. So.
Yeah.
Be over.
Definitely, totally, absolutely on purpose, right?
Totally. You don't know. I hope he does that at BlizzCon, actually. Hope everyone's hyped and then suddenly just comes back and crushes all the foreigners.
I don't know who I'm cheering for to go to BlizzCon. Like, at BlizzCon, I've got a lot of Koreans that we've got close ties with, Patience, ByuN, and others. At the same time, it would be cool to see foreigners do well. I don't know who I'm going to cheer for until I think I'm there, to be honest with you.
I should just say that I am free to very biased cheer, because bias isn't a word, is it? Have some very biased cheerfuls for the Koreans. That's good English. Because, they're the ones that just got wrecked, okay? So, Now I should have all the reason in the world just be like, boo foreigners. Get out of BlizzCon. You don't deserve to be here. I'm actually not gonna say these things. Even before this goes on Reddit.
You think you're good enough to get a Reddit thread? No, Zombie, let me explain to you how it's gonna work. You could sit here on the broadcast, by the way, and this is hypothetical. Zombie would potentially say, you know what? Fuck Korea. Fuck Koreans. I'm glad Pro League is dead. The Reddit thread would be titled, Rifkin hates Korea.
Not sure if it'd be that extreme.
That works.
But I get where you're going.
Someone bring up that picture, the whole Twitch chat and Rifkin dynamic, like Zombie throwing the thing in the wheels. Fucking Rifkin.
I do like that comic. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good one. I'm proud of that.
Game number 2 is going to be on King Sejong Station. ByuN's map choice. Man, them... Nope, no, I won't. Nope, it's fine. It's fine. I didn't want to be referee anyway. It's too much responsibility.
And you know what? Not like we need mods. Not like they improve and enhance the viewing experience. Oh, wait, yes, they do!
Was this not built with mods? Oh, shit, you're right.
No. ByuN hosted.
ByuN
probably just like so angry and mad. He's like, I can't believe I lost the game to a Protoss of all people.
Protoss is scum, swear to God. In the bottom right, thinking those exact same thoughts. It is the Blue Terran, ByuN.
And his opponent in the upper left going to be none other than the Red Protoss Stats, who currently leads the series 1-0 here in the semifinals of the Olimoleague. Let's not forget, guys, if you haven't already, take a quick trip over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Olimoleague. You can see the prize pool. You can see how players are paid, how the admins are paid, and how we as casters are even paid. That being said, it can also increase the prize pool for future events as we hit higher tiered goals. Twitch Korea contributes more. It's really awesome, and we want to keep building this up. So if you guys are, I think I'm dead serious, this is 100% a guilt trip. If you're one of the people in chat who's morose and feeling bummed out about Pro League, and you're like, I wish I could have done something about it, get on that proactive bandwagon. Help out with the Olimoleague. Build it to be the best thing it can be. Make it one of the stronger pillars in Korea. I implore and beg you, please, make this league awesome.
Can we get one of those signs from like the 40s that's like, don't be depressed? Something that rhymes with depressed. Actually contribute money to the Korean scene. Someone will come with a better slogan than me. I was not meant for slogans. But you get the idea. And then we can get like a, I don't know, someone like making like a muscle pose to give everyone some motivation.
Zombie, I got you. You ready for this?
I am ready for this.
What do we want?
What?
Did you say Korean StarCraft or something?
Oh, I was actually not sure what you wanted me to say.
What do we want?
Korean StarCraft?
When do we want it?
As soon as possible?
Oh, you're so bad at this. Please never protest anything in your entire life.
What do we want? Reasonable wages. When do we want it? At a reasonable time?
What do we want? Fries dog. When do we want it? Fries dog.
I'm great. It's fine.
You're not, but that's okay if you think you are. Now, I do want to point out, Stats actually built his gateway in Cybercore in a very interesting way. This blocks out the ramp that would have otherwise been that little Reaper cliff. So if ByuN was coming across the map with a Reaper, hopping up would not be an option. And more importantly, if it was proxied, it would be completely shut down by SimCity alone. Didn't happen this game, but nice precautions taken out of Stats after seeing how that first game opened up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like last game and just King Sejong Station at one point being popular for proxy Reapers in that exact location. I guess it's better to put it over there. I'd say that nowadays it's really not that popular for proxy Reapers, but just in case. It also means that had the Reaper gone the, I guess, the correct way, then maybe it still doesn't get all the way over to the left side, or maybe the scan just barely misses because it scans the Nexus and doesn't see like the strike or something like that. I mean, ByuN is playing pretty blind because he didn't go for a Reaper. Even if that Reaper had died, it would have at least maybe gotten a scout on something. Nothing at all here. So he will have to play defensive. Definitely put the Widow Mines in the mineral lines, your Marines in the mineral lines first. Kind of wait that appropriate amount of time for an Oracle. that is unproxied, so I guess at this point it's around 4 minutes. And then if it doesn't come, pick it up. If it does come, then that's a freebie. Oh, stats. Oracle control so good. Gets Marines and SCVs. Saw the medevac too, so there should be no problem. There's that overcharge. Oh. Well, I thought he was aware that Widowmines would be in the mineral line, but I guess he went a little bit too close and lost the Oracle. Casual. I thought you were good with Oracles. That kind of sucks, because he didn't get a backup Oracle. He instead went for Phoenixes to try and really counter the medevac drop. And not only did he lose the Oracle, he didn't kill the medevac, which I think you really are hoping for when you produce Phoenixes. Not to say they're useless after, but I think that is, like, you kind of hope to get this almost counter build when you get a Stargate going. Loses a Adept here. You lose a second one. Oh, there we go. Don't lose a Cyclone. And stats, despite losing the Oracle and thus his vision on the map, still goes for a third base on, well, of course, on location for him, but a third base without much scouting, without any indication of where ByuN's next push or drop is coming in. What's interesting is that ByuN is adding Cyclone upgrades in the mid-game. This is usually a early game kind of cheese or not at all. But he's going to try and make the Cyclone a little bit more powerful. And push
By the
with
way,
unupgraded Marines.
I'm not sure if this is true or not, but certainly cool if it is. Chat reporting in that apparently ByuN and Stats have played a lot of games recently on stream together, and this might be why Stats was so well prepared to deal with ByuN.
Perhaps. ByuN did have like a 15-hour stream or some shit. This guy gets addicted to streaming. He said so in the past. ByuN got, or Neeb also had like a really long stream yesterday too. I wonder if he was trying to just say he can do it too, or that's just usually how he does it. The Adepts rush in, the Cyclones really don't get that mobility they're supposed to, and they just die and get picked up by the Phoenixes, and this push was not very good at all by ByuN. Very questionable to do, and that might have everything to do with the fact they've played against each other so many times. Because stats, again, like no vision, no revelation on medevacs. I'd say that other Protosses might be caught out of position or not expecting such a quick follow-up push, because who pushes without stim, you know? With Marines. Only in very rare scenarios. Yet he was totally prepared.
Ugh, the Adepts gonna catch this command center before it's finished building. That really sucks. I don't actually know if ByuN's got what it's gonna take to push out with the Phoenix policing the way they are.
He doesn't. He's actually really scared of losing.
Yeah, this might actually be like you cancel the command center, just start building in the main. It's actually quite a bit of wasted time, unfortunately, and a lot of money invested into it. So it goes for the cancel. There we go. Phoenix is going to pick up Marines that come out of the barracks 1 or 2 at a time. That really sucks. But with a wall off in a bunker, the Adepts shouldn't break him just yet. But not a great situation for sure.
ByuN is kind of already lost the game, in fact. That push, by going for the Cyclone upgrade, that was not your stim. And the stim could have already been done if he had started it instead of the Cyclone upgrade. You also might have gotten maybe a bit faster on the barracks here, the extra barracks, which are now only just finished up with tech labs. Like, everything ByuN needs to play a mid-game, not even like a macro game, but like a mid-game, is not here. He's barely got upgrades at a 2-1, kind of, you know, not paired up together, basically. Loses a medevac, it's the supply and it's the pace of the game, both, that are going very terribly for ByuN. And he knew he could die, by the way. Like, those bunkers might have seemed like an overreaction, but Phoenixes and the Adept actually getting past his wall, they could have taken on handfuls of unupgraded Marines, for sure. And I feel like that might still happen. You know, Stats getting Resonant Enclaves, 1-1. He could just kind of burst forward here with all these gateways finishing with mass Adepts, and just make sure that ByuN can never really push out. Eventually, ByuN has to try to push out to get a third base, but it will not be with the biggest army, that's for sure. It'll at least be upgraded.
So, I've been slowly in my mind trying to think of a
Slogan?
I've written a poem
Oh,
about Widow Mines
Jesus.
actually.
Oh, okay, good. I was like, she's been waiting for like 8 minutes.
Well, it's hard because I've been trying to cast the game, and it's like I can't compartmentalize. Um, this was titled Widow Mines. In mineral
Okay.
lines, cause clinical signs of balance wines, because worker kills count up to 9s.
You are a wordsmith.
Okay, Phoenix is picking up these few units that rally out. ByuN, by the way, like the sad timing of this is like +2s finishing up with combat shields. His army technically is good to fight in these small micro engagements. And if you consider the fact that Stats' army lead is in those Phoenix that aren't on this side, like his defensive side of the map, it's actually not so bad for him to push into that third if he really wanted to try. But frankly, the longer this goes, the harder it's going to be for him to take any sort of fight.
Yeah. And where Stats could have probably just mass Adepts and maybe one, Widow Mines will be the deciding factor in that engagement. He instead went for, more upgrades, robotics tech, double robo, and Colossus, which, it just means that he's going to be winning the game later rather than sooner. To ByuN's credit, what was initially a 20 supply gap, he has bridged and then some, and actually his army supply is favorable now. But I still would say that the pace of the game is terrible for him. As he gets his third base down, his main starts mining out, and he still will have to worry about Stats gaining control of the army fights by, just good positioning, basically. A couple force fields go down, the Colossus get really good shots. I'd say this is ByuN's best chance to win the game because his upgrades are a little bit better, but it doesn't seem to be happening. Doesn't take a terrible fight, but he actually took a worse trade. So in that way, it is terrible for him, who is still catching up from the early game. And Stats is getting a 4th base, so ByuN's gonna try something really dangerous. I don't know if it's gonna work because it was actually right in the side of an observer. I think he noticed that. I am definitely fearing for ByuN here. I really have a good feeling Stats is gonna win. ByuN only just now getting the units that you need to try and counter Colossus. I think he was really hoping to catch Stats right before Colossus were out, and he almost did. But he still was going down a ramp and a choke, and still wasn't going to work out that well.
One of the bigger issues too is like Stats hasn't really taken the bait for a lot of these Widow Mines. He's not frivolously transferring through. Even if these Widow Mines hit, that army's so small out of ByuN, I don't know if he can take it. He backs away from the Colossus. Widow Mine pops off on the Stalkers, not the Adept, so he's got to chew through those. SCVs get pulled, but it's his last stand, and ByuN, unfortunately, actually, I take that back, might just push through this. With the Adepts disappearing, does not have to take on the Colossus, but the Colossus also can't necessarily push through this too easily either. There's still Widow Mines down there, and Stats knows it. If those Widow Mines reload, they're going to get a lot of kills.
ByuN once again taking a better trade than I expected, just like last game, but still... really, the only thing that Stats was missing was a Warp Prism to warp in more Depths.
I just realized the army supply is missing on my game heart. Is that missing for you too?
Nope. You had this bug once before.
Yeah, I'm wondering, because I haven't touched the keyboard since the game started. I don't know how that disappeared.
Mysteries.
Regardless, ByuN's been fighting at a deficit this whole game was the only emphasis I was going to make. I didn't know the number, that's what I was going to look up. But the point of it is, ByuN's never really come into any of these fights with a supply lead. Yet he's still taking admirably good ones. I think at this point, though, we are getting to the point where, it's 5 bases for Stats. ByuN has not even 1 base properly mining. Stats is going to be just able to warp in like charge lots after charge lots after charge lots and win,
If he had charge.
Or Adepts. My point is just like you can warp in basic units and win. Throw money at ByuN.
Yeah, and again, the other thing that was missing to not win that last fight was a round of Adepts, I would say, from a Warp Prism. So now that he has that, I don't think ByuN is able to take it. Some of that defense also had to do with the SCVs being pulled, which is not an option, as the SCVs are just coming now, as well as missile turrets that finished, which was kind of funny. We got a couple of shots in the Colossus and the Phoenixes. But that's not going to happen here. ByuN is starved for cash, and Stats just takes another engagement angle.
Thank you, Becca Amy, by the way, for the 7-month resub. Sorry we missed it, so thanks for CPRing StarCraft 2.
Good try. CPR is only like 14% effective or something, but...
Yeah, you also need to be certified. You can't just do that or you'll start crushing people's ribs, man. That's not okay.
I think you do that.
I don't have a license.
You do that regardless. Just the amount of pressure that's being applied. It's really painful to...
Really? I thought you were supposed to grab the girl by the boobs and then press down. Or is
say,
that how
really,
sex works?
It's really
I don't
painful
actually
to
know.
resuscitate from a CPR. Totally speaking from firsthand here, of course. I've died before. GG.
GG. Stats will be the one to dethrone ByuN and actually give us a completely unique and brand new finals, as we will not get the third iteration of Ryong versus ByuN, but instead it's going to be Stats versus Ryong. Now, I have a lot I want to say about this, and I don't know if we'll have a big break or not. We'll find out here in just a sec, but before we do disappear, I want to just quickly comment. Historically, this has been Ryong's worst matchup, and back in HOTS, like, this guy had seriously close to like a 0% win record. It wasn't that drastic, but it wasn't good. And Ryong has improved a lot. I messaged him earlier. I said, dude, I'm glad to see you're doing so well. Keep it up. And give him a little flexy emoticon. And we'll see just how far he's come. This will be a true test for him. If somebody like ByuN can't beat Stats, but Ryong can, crazy newfound respect for Ryong. However, if Stats wins, I think it's also kind of like a little bit to be expected. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I look forward to this best of 5 TvP. I think I'm gonna need a bit of an extended break again for this one. But good luck to Ryong after seeing Stats dismantle ByuN. That could have just been because they've been playing for so long. There's a little bit of the whole, like, I just know what you're gonna do. Or maybe Stats is just a beast in this matchup. Regardless, we're gonna take at least a 2-minute break and get back to you as soon as the games are ready.